Prefer to do while you're on vacation? Disrespect me more?
Jordan, reach out. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the Stokastic.com MLB strategy show. Dave Loughran, Josh Engleman. 12-game action today. Big slate. Also, very happy to see Minimax is 100K today, which is pretty cool.
Maybe I'll play that one.
Yeah. I did yesterday. I enjoy it. But that yesterday was 75K. Today, 100K, dude. Not bad. A lot of entries, obviously.
That's a great contest.
I also love that it's 10K up top, so it's 10% to first. Once you're getting into that range, it's not bad. Like a 10K up top on a $3 entry with 150 max with flatter payouts, it is a good contest for sure.
It's great for like 99% of the people that want to play.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was thrilled to see tomorrow it'll be back down to like 50 because of NBA. But my hope is that that's kind of a precursor for what we see after basketball's over. Like big actual, because there's no point of having, like, you have the big $15, right? And that'll be like during the summer, you might get a bunch of 100Ks to first. At the very least, you're getting 50K to first. And then for a long time, all it was like the four seamer 20 max. If you wanted to get multiple entries into unless you're doing the mini max, but a lot of people can't play the $1 mini max and stuff like that. So it always kind of was surprising to me why they didn't have like, I'm sorry, not the mini. You know what I'm talking about? It was the $1, the $1 one.
What's it? The micro mini max? Is that what it's called?
I think that's probably what it is. Yeah, but it's. I'm glad they're turning things around because I feel like they neglected that. They neglected a large swath of people for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think they'll change doing that, but this is a step in the right direction at the very least.
Yeah, right. Where's the bread buttered would be the question.
Right.
But like, why wouldn't you do that with basketball every night? Just a $3.
I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. It'll fill.
It'll absolutely fill. The 4-point play is the 20 max, right? And they have that every day. That's 100K up top. If you're filling that with only 20 entries per person, how would you imagine that you wouldn't easily fill a mini max?
I think they would do it with very little problem.
And they'd still fill both because the same people are still going to put 20 entries into the 4-point play regardless. Anyway, how you feeling, man?
Good. Well rested. Yesterday sucked. To get every pitcher right, 100% and not have anything was like that. The hitting was just terrible. I needed one team to be good and no teams were good.
I ended up profiting like 20% or something, nothing crazy, 30% maybe. But to your point, all of I had 4 pitchers. I ended up getting 28% of the spaghetti man.
Yeah. And he was good.
He was good. Yeah, he was solid.
Or good enough, at least.
I had Cease, Old Spaghetti, only 18% Gilbert, and then Paddock. I had like 80% Chris Paddock. Yeah. And he ended up coming through for us. Pitching was locked in. And
yeah, I had one share of Fede, and I only had Paddock, Gilbert, and Cease. They made up 198% of my stuff, and I couldn't find the pieces to get even one good hitting lineup.
It's funny. I had so much Seattle, and they ended up, I think, being the highest scoring team on the slate.
They scored 4 runs in the 8th and a walk-off grand slam in the 9th.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I had so much Seattle until You know what I'm going to say here? So like leading up to lock, I had so much Seattle until the Yankees news.
Yeah.
Because that lineup just became free.
Yes. They were, I mean, I had a ton of them one way or the other. But I ended up with, they were my most exposed team heading into lock.
I think I still had like 30% Seattle, but my point is I would have had a ton more had, and the Yankees put up a few runs, just a lot of singles, no power, nothing like that. It was a fine day, but nothing spectacular. What sucks though is when you get all of the pitching right, you would like to have some of the bats pop off, at least give you a chance. But what my lineups looked like were just, I didn't have anything in like the top 100, but I still profited. You know what I mean? I didn't have any great lineups. I just had enough decent lineups.
I didn't even have decent lineups, which is, I can't even wrap my head. It was so bad.
What did the winning, I didn't even look. What did the winning lineups look like?
I think it was like a 3-2-1-1-1.
Even when you look at the home runs, it was like you got a bottom of the order 9-hole hitter for Toronto, homered, and then an inning or two later, 9-hole hitter for Milwaukee, homers, and then wasn't it Canzone one of the homers for Seattle out of the 8-hole? Like there were just so many bottom of the order homers and not much from the actual good bats yesterday.
And all I had were the good bats, which
they were not good.
Awesome.
So you're going with the old Andrew Schultz haircut.
Huh?
It's like the Andrew Schultz.
No.
You just need a straight mustache now.
It's not nothing here.
Well, I figured you skin faded it and it's just growing in.
It is. But his is gone. It's just,
yeah, it's a straight skin fade.
There's no
hair.
Well, this isn't even really a fade. There's no fade for it. His is distinct.
No, Jordan, you got to go to this. Not that one. That's the old one. I really don't know how I feel about that guy.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
Down in the middle there, Jordan. The second one from the left. Second row.
Love the stand-up. Not huge on the podcast.
Your other row. Now, sort of. That was the worst picture to choose.
We get the point.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a fan. He's a great joke writer.
Oh yeah, Adames. Someone mentioned Adames, and yeah, that was another one. San Diego ended up putting some runs up, right? So, yeah. Sneak Peek League said it's called a high fade. No, I know. I think Josh was saying that it doesn't even look like it's faded at all. It's just, I mean, it's clearly faded a bit, but anyway, let's get into it. Happy to have you guys with us. Hey, if you don't mind, take a single second out of your morning, atone for your sins. A beautiful Tuesday. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. And if we can get those comments turned back on, I'd say leave a comment down below because we enjoy reading and responding to those, but they are still, Jordan, did you look into that? Yeah, it's got to be a glitch. Anyway, you want to listen in podcast form if you don't feel like doing it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and in the description, you'll see where you can follow us and find our podcast, find our socials everywhere in that Linktree link. So, all right, let's get into it. We'll talk about pitching first. I don't want to start at the top. I want to start at the top of ownership because, boy, do I not feel good about this, Josh. I mean, I couldn't feel less good about what I'm seeing and what the early results are in the sims and exposures. I mean, look, I ran straight sims yesterday, had a good night. I'm 100% willing to just go with it and not second guess everything all the time. But here's the question. Louis Varland, sorry.
Yes.
32% owned against the Rockies. I understand the Rockies have a low total. I understand that he should be owned. But this guy stinks.
That's not very nice.
Can I just set the table for you a little bit here?
Absolutely.
So he made 4 starts with the Twins this year, right? Terrible starts. Terrible. Ton of home runs, ton of power, a lot of walks, just awful stuff. They demote him to AAA, St. Paul. He goes down there, makes 8 starts. Has a 5.31 ERA at AAA. And then they promote him again. Now, this is not a promotion. This is giving your starters rest because you play 13 straight days. That's why Louis Varland is up. Call it throwing him to the wolves, call it getting a second look at him, call it whatever you will. But this dude was bad with the Twins and then just as bad with the AAA affiliate, St. Paul Saints or whatever the hell they are. And now he comes back up and fortunately enough gets a very positive matchup against the Rockies. All I'm saying is that things haven't gone well for him, whether he's at the major league or the AAA level. A 5.31 ERA in the minors is really not impressive at all.
You trying to tell me you don't want one of the best pitchers on today's slate?
I'm trying to tell you, I might have some Rockies.
I end up with the Rockies quite a bit, so that wouldn't shock me. He's my second most exposed pitcher right now. I have him projected for the fourth most fantasy points on the slate. He is the 21st most expensive pitcher on today's slate. I hate every bit of this. I want to be very clear here.
Okay, so at least we're on the same page there.
His price, I don't know what you do to get away from it. I really don't. The Rockies are so bad. They strike out so much, and Varland is 6K. I completely understand why he's getting the ownership that he is. I think that it's fully deserved. You need so little, like, you obviously like need a good score no matter what. But he's got the perfect path for it. The park's not all that problematic. The matchup is perfect. And he's just simply not priced where he should be for today's slate. Like, there's a reason he's 31% owned, and the matchup is part of it for sure. But we're talking about a guy that should probably be 8K today or more.
8K for Louis Varland?
I mean, Tyler McGill is 25% owned at 7,300 today.
Yeah.
Is he really in a better spot? Because I don't think he is.
No, but he's a lot better.
I guess. I mean, look, I'm hoping that this goes a different direction. And instead of paying down at pitcher, I pay up. And that's the way that I'm different. And I find cheaper stacks. But if we're just talking about on paper point per dollar plays, his price tag is just not correct for what we're getting.
Yeah. And another thing too is you're probably going to get Stallings in the lineup today.
Yeah.
Diaz isn't going to play. And Diaz has actually been like one of their better bats, 19% carry, 354 WOBA versus righties. He's been actually good against righties. So it helps. But I would be lying to you if I told you I didn't have, what are you watching, soccer?
No, I got my shit working.
Oh, okay. I would be lying to you.
It's June. There's no soccer right now.
I don't
know.
No
real soccer, at least.
Soon.
Yeah. International soccer is coming up in a big way.
All I'm saying is, like, do
you care about international soccer? Like, do you have any interest in the United States soccer team when they're playing their important shit?
Oh, I watch every game.
I know you're saying that sarcastically.
No. I if it's like the World Cup or
yeah.
What's the other one? Is like FIFA Cup or something? Is that
the World Cup is what you're looking for? There are international tournaments that'll just be for like North and South America type stuff.
But World Cup or the Olympics,
sure,
are the ones that I really do watch every game. Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoy that. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
You know why? Because I don't need to know anything. Does that make sense? Like, I don't need to know really anything. Plus, I have a rooting interest. Like, it's tough for me to. I don't have any like MLS rooting interest. I don't have.
Oh, you should watch the Philly Union, man.
Well, I watched the championship game. That was that insane game.
Yeah,
it went into overtime. That was awesome.
You're missing out, man. I'm telling you, it's fun.
Is it called overtime?
Extra time.
Okay, stop telling you, dude. I don't know.
Extra
I just
time.
hope
like this is a good year for like soccer, like the Euros are coming up this year. You get all the best teams in Europe playing each other. That's always fun. World Cup's in 2 years.
Actually, I think the Union game went into a shootout.
That sounds right. I don't follow it.
Which is a terribly stupid way to end a championship game. I mean, I could not be more opposed to that terrible idea than ending a championship game. I think it's called the championship. Who knows? In a shootout. That's terrible.
So
like if you
here's
ended
the problem
Stanley
with
Cup
it, and I'm
way,
with you. I'm with you. Here's what they need to do to change it, and it would be perfect.
Take a player or two off the field.
No, it's too big. It's too big.
Right. Space it out.
Here's the easiest way to do it. Right now, you go 90 minutes of real time, 30 minutes of extra time, penalties, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. And I don't think anybody's really stoked about it. What you really need to do is flip-flop the penalties and the extra time. So you go and you play 90 minutes and you're tied. Then you go to penalties. Okay? You establish the winning team based on penalties. Then when you go to extra time, one of those teams knows that they're winning and one of those teams knows that they're losing. So now you have a situation where the team that didn't win penalties has 30 minutes to try to score a goal to win, whereas the opposite direction then, the other team has less incentive to do it, so they're going to take a bludgeoning for 30 minutes. You create all of this additional action, and then you don't have to end the game on I don't want to say anticlimactic penalty kicks because they are very fun to watch, but at least you're playing it out on the pitch at that point.
Yeah, but what are there 3 rounds generally? Is it 3 rounds if you win in 3 rounds? Penalty, like in hockey, you get
it's 5.
Okay.
You start with 5.
So the problem there is that what if a team goes up 4-0 on penalties and now a team has to play 30 minutes down 4?
No. They're not. The goals are the goals don't count. All you're doing is just establishing who won the penalties. Same way that it would have been before. It doesn't matter how many goals you score, just that you won the penalty. It's the same principle as if it happened at the end. Like, it doesn't matter if you go 4-1 in PKs or 1-0 in PKs. It's still just the victory.
Okay.
All you're doing is setting those terms so that you have to have action in the second part of it all.
All right.
Because then you'd be like, oh, shit. All right. Like, United States won the penalties. They have to hold this team off for 30 minutes and they win. Instead of they got to hold them off for 30 minutes and then win penalties. It's so much better.
So what if they don't hold them off and they lose and the other team scores 1 goal, then the other team wins?
So technically no one has to score. The penalties have already established who will win the game. I know,
but what if the other team does score?
Then you lose.
Even though you won the penalties.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty wild. I say you just make it like 5-on-5.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
And make the field just like half a field. Anyway, yeah. So with Varland, you know more about football than I do, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, more
in
cultured.
Hockey, it's the best. In hockey, it's the best. You take skaters off the ice, fantastic. Now, granted, that's regular season, but whatever. Is your highest exposed pitcher Skeens right now?
No. I have another guy that I am likely. Wu? It is Brian Wu.
Yeah. Okay. He's been nasty.
Well, he's very nasty here at 8,900 in an absolutely fantastic spot against the ass end of the league, Chicago White Sox.
Sub 3 total there. In Seattle, it's an excellent spot. He's not an elite strikeout pitcher. I'm not sure how much that actually matters. I mean, he's just been really, really good. I think he's had one rough start all season. Aside from that, this guy's been excellent. I get it. I totally understand it. Skeens, though, is getting a lot of ownership. 31% against St. Louis, $9,400. Clearly, the strikeout stuff is. I know you're still getting like fully up to speed with baseball, like with basketball winding down.
Yeah.
But I assume you were very familiar with like Skeens coming up the
Oh yeah,
pipeline.
he's not
That's what I mean.
he's not a mystery to me.
No, I know he's not a
No.
mystery to you. What I mean is that, like, his debut was one of the most
Yeah, like I pay attention to what
anticipated.
he's doing since
I
he's been up,
figure.
especially because he's given the biz the livy.
And how about, dude, FanDuel, such a grimy thing. They did this like odds boost in his first start of the year against the Cubs, and it was like a 10 strikeout odds boost, just because they know every sucker in the world is going to be like, "Ooh, I like that." They're not going to devig it. They're not going to see what the true odds are. They're just going to be like, "Oh, I like Paul Skeens 10 plus strikeouts in his debut. That
Yeah.
looks good to me. This guy can't miss." You know?
I mean, to be fair, that's smart. I should
Oh,
honestly work in that line, and just my entire business is just thinking about ways to bone
it's
the
very
public.
small. It's
I would
very
get so
small.
much satisfaction out of that too.
I bet they raked it in on that too. And there's
Yeah.
no option. It's just the yes. So it's like, what, you have no clue what the true odds actually are.
No.
But against St. Louis today, do you like him? 9,400.
On my first run, I had 16%. Let's see. I'm on my final run right now, so I'm gonna have my proper shit in like 2 minutes. I mean, he looks fantastic. I have him with the second highest projection of any pitcher. Only guy behind him for me is Brian Wu. We can have that conversation deeper if we need to. I mean, his stuff is just bonkers. There's no real other way to describe it. I mean, he is striking out people at a ridiculous clip, and it doesn't seem like there's any reason to suspect that he's not a 30+% K rate guy. Even in a matchup that's not really an amazing strikeout matchup, he's still set up to just mow these guys down. I have him at 7Ks. I assume his K prop is in and around that number. I mean, there's a reason he's 30% owned, and it is fully justified. I mean, we're talking about this is kind of similar to yesterday. We have this group of pitchers that are aggressively owned, and then we have everybody else that isn't. Wheeler, Skeens, Wu, McGill, Varland, to a lesser extent, Randy Vasquez. But I mean, the first five guys that I named there are 25 to 30% owned. All of them. They're all 25 to 30. And then everybody else just sort of exists on an island. But Skeens, how could you not want it?
I know. He has a pitch called the Splinker, right? Which is I'm assuming you could guess exactly what that's a hybrid of.
Two in the pink, one in the stinker.
Right on the mounds, too. It's gross.
Yeah.
No, I mean, come on, the Splinker.
A splitter and a sinker.
Uh-huh. And the movement on this is stupid. Like, he so they say like one of the closest as far as a splitter goes is Zach Wheeler,
Mhm.
except Wheeler sits around 85. This is a splitter sinker that sits at 95 miles per hour.
He's just a cheat code. It's gonna be really sad when he inevitably gets Tommy John.
Yeah, but the movement on his pitch is, as you said, it's bonkers, man. It's crazy. And I don't see any reason why we wouldn't just assume that he keeps a 30+% K rate. His K rate at AAA was what, 43%? Yeah, 43%.
Basically 100%. Basically everybody.
Yeah, it's nuts. So I do understand it. I don't think he's I will say this much. He's not a cheat code yet for DFS. He's not. He's not.
I mean, he kind of is. He's as much of a cheat code as any pitcher can be.
Yeah, but it's not like he's just mowing down everyone he faces.
But he is kind of mowing down everybody he faces.
Not really.
I mean, he's got a 30-something% K rate. If he's not mowing down everybody he faces, nobody is.
Sure, but you have to consider the innings pitched on some of these. Like in 2 of his 5 starts, he's gone, 5 innings and 4 innings. So yeah, of course, strikeout rate is going to be, compared to the amount of batters you're facing, but he has labored at times. He's worked deeper in the games than he would have liked. I'm telling you, he's been very good, particularly for a guy that's making his major league debut. I'm just saying he hasn't been a cheat code in the sense that like every time he goes out there, you're getting 30 from him.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. I mean, they don't really have any incentive to just let him like soak up innings right now.
Right. Yeah, what's the point?
By the way, I have way less of him than I expected, and my pitching is stupid.
Skeens is my highest exposed pitcher right now.
He's one of 4 guys that I have.
Who are the others? Well, obviously Varland.
Wu, Varland, Vasquez, Skeens.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I don't have McGill and I don't have Wheeler.
Oakland kind of intrigues me against Vasquez, if we're being completely honest. You know, the problem is on a slate like this, I don't think you really need to. Like, I think on a smaller slate, I'd have a lot more interest in Colorado and Oakland than I would on a 12 gamer.
Yeah, you still need like, no matter what you think of Vasquez, you still need Oakland to be one of the 2 highest scoring stacks today, and that chance is like 5%, whereas you can get a lot more value elsewhere.
Exactly.
You're better off just simply not playing Randy Vasquez than stacking against. You don't need Randy Vasquez to die. You just don't need him to be good.
I don't mind. I will say this much though. I don't mind some one-offs from Colorado and Oakland. Like the Ryan McMahons,
JJ Bleday, 3,900.
Yeah, even like a switch hitting Toro. I don't think there's that.
Tell me more about a switch hitting Toro.
Josh is on Toro today. 10-1 plus 1,000 to homer for our Dinger Tuesday promo. I got Ellie De La Cruz. We'll get to that in a second. I think that matchup for those lefties against he's been getting trashed lately.
I'm gonna get a 10-1 Toro today and talk my ish on Twitter when it happens.
Sweet.
When I ran my model and I ran my homer rates across every FanDuel line that existed, and Toro had more value to hit a home run today at that line than any other player did on the slate for me. So is it likely? Nah, but it is fun to think about.
Certainly is. I like Ellie against McKenzie too. Best lefty power park in the league. McKenzie, 2 home runs per 9 this year.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
He's allowed 8 home runs over his last 3 starts, Josh.
You just need him you need him to allow 1 more.
Just 1. But Cincinnati interests me. It's just such a good park. Really is. Yeah, by the way, I'm getting to like no Colorado bats. The only piece of Colorado I have is 1 lineup with Cal Quantrill.
I have 2 pretty sizable stands. I only have 2 teams where I got to 10% or more. It's the Royals and the Rangers.
Interesting. Rangers have been terrible too.
Yeah, I'm not really pumped. I mean, none of it feels like it's going to go well for me. I think we have the Rangers 20th of 24 teams in top stack.
These 12 gamers are tough, man. Like right now, I have a good amount of Arizona.
Okay. I mean, the run total looks fantastic here against Suarez.
It does. It does. No doubt about it. Plus, they're far better against lefties than they are against righties. So, I mean, I have no real issues with that. I also don't know how deep Suarez goes into a game like this at all. But yeah, I have a lot of Arizona. Cleveland in that bullpen game, it looks like it's going to be Nick Martinez. I don't have much Cincinnati. I honestly think, Josh, that I boost them a little bit because McKenzie could just get back on track, or there could be something like inherently wrong with him right now.
Yeah.
And he just is. That's the thing about this Cincinnati team. You actually do have a decent amount of guys that can hit from the left side or the right side of the plate that have power. They strike out a lot, but he only has a 17% K rate against lefties this season to begin with. So you have what? 4 of the first 5 in the lineup, in the projected lineup, are lefties. And almost all of them have some power. Great American Ballpark is the most lefty-friendly homer park in the entire, the entirety of the league. There is not a better homer park for lefties than Great American Ballpark. It's going to be around 80 degrees at first pitch. Good weather. I see a lot of upside here if McKenzie continues to struggle, because we've learned recently that if he struggles, it's going to be on the long ball.
Speaking of weather, by the way, it seems like we're completely fine across everything Only thing you'll have to pay attention to is Marlins Mets, and we should know all that information considering it's going to be the first game to go off today. That's the only one that has any
Yep.
sort of sprinkle anywhere near it.
We
So
had no
I just wanted
weather
to say that quickly.
yesterday either.
No,
Nice.
it's weather is the biggest stupidity of baseball that exists. I hate that it's a factor.
I know it sucks. Reg Kell said Vasquez sucks against lefty. He does. He's allowing like 2.5 home runs per 9 to lefties. The problem is that the majority of like true power from that Oakland team comes from the right side. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Yes, you have a few lefties in the lineup, but the large majority of power from Oakland's coming from the right side of the plate. That's what kind of makes this matchup tricky. Also makes it better for Vasquez.
Yeah, I mean, right now they're projected for 6 righties, 3 lefties. Toro, Blade, and Soderstrom would be the lefties, which is fine. But you want righty power in San Diego.
Exactly. Is McKenzie getting ownership? No.
No.
Here's the reason I ask. Great park for hitters, a lot of home runs, good amount of power in that Reds lineup, but they strike out at an insane clip.
It scares me. I've been a Tristan McKenzie truther for a while in that I've recommended him and won real money using him. I don't know if today is the day that I want him.
It's not for me either, but I had to mention the strikeouts because there's like 3 or 4 guys in this lineup with 30+% K rates versus righties.
The problem is just simply there's too many lefties to be in this lineup right now. Like
17
27% K rate to righties over the past year and a half, 17 to lefties. Friedel projects as a lefty. De La Cruz, lefty. Candelario, lefty. Fraley, lefty. I mean, we're talking we only have Steer, Stevenson, India in the lineup that I'm looking at that projects to be righties. Those are the only spots that you're going to squeeze out extra strikeouts. And those are the spots that you're hoping to like not give up home runs across the board. For the rest of it, it's a really tough spot for McKenzie.
And also when you've got guys like when you have switch hitting bats like Candelario and Ellie, they strike out a lot against righties, but they also have like they're also much better from like Ellie from the left side of the plate is so much better with so much more power.
He's a different hitter.
Yeah. So it's not just like you're getting a shitty 30% strikeout guy with no ability to tag you. You do. There's a lot of that there for sure. Man, pitching, this sounds kind of wild, but pitching kind of sucks for a 12-game slate.
It does. I mean, that's like, if it wasn't for a random Tyler McGill share, like I have no issue fading him. That entire section from Wu to Varland, like everybody in between, nobody looks all that good.
At all.
The highest owned guy is Dane Dunning at 9%. Below that, it's Luzardo at 6%. Like you just have McGill sitting there as, I don't know, he's a guy, right? Like 25% owned McGill today, really?
It's a lot.
22% K rate to lefties over the last year and a half, over 1,300 pitches. So like that is a sample. 1,200 pitches to righties, 17% K rate, 186 X ISO to lefties, 207 X ISO to righties. I can't think of a guy I want to play less than him today.
I know. It's not a great, it's a fine enough spot. You just hope you can work deep into the game. Kikuchi doesn't have the greatest matchup against Milwaukee. I like you said Kikuchi, but he's over 9K on the road against the Brewers. It's not a great spot. No. Luzardo has not had it. He just and the strikeout stuff. Like, what's Luzardo's K rate this year?
That's a great question.
His first few starts were fine.
26 to lefties, 21 to righties.
Yeah. He hit the IL, came back, and he has a few decent spots there and then a few that are just ugly. I don't know what to make of somebody like him.
I mean, what we used to know about him is a big ceiling, for sure.
There's going to be 8 righties, including a switch hitting Lindor in this Mets lineup today.
Yeah, the problem is a lot of these guys don't strike out a ton. JD Martinez and Vientos are kind of the only guys with like problematic strikeout rates. There's a lot of low-level strikeout dudes in this spot. And he can transcend it, or at least he was able to transcend that kind of stuff in the past. But if his strikeout stuff is playing more like it is this year in comparison to what it's been in the past, then he's just not that same guy.
I will say he's the one guy down there that I'm at least interested in because I think he's better than an $8,100 price point, even though we haven't seen a ton of it lately.
You get a good park too, limits runs a bit. It plays up righty power a tad, but lefty power dies in New York. He gives up more righty power and he's going to see a lot of righties. That's not ideal. I think just the lineup in general kind of runs against him a little bit.
I can't believe you're not getting Miles Mikolas.
Dude, when DraftKings sends out those emails, they're like, "You must be Miles Mikolas's brother."
No, I said I can't believe you're not getting Miles Mikolas.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe it a lot more than you can.
Yeah.
I always see it. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Skeens is on the opposite side, and you don't get a lot of opportunities for the Pirates to not look bad. The implied total for Pittsburgh is atrocious, even with Mikolas on the opposite side. But there's just the real problem for Mikolas is the fact that Varland is $500 cheaper and projected for 5 more fantasy points for me. Mikolas is just blocked out by mispricing on Varland, and to a lesser extent Vasquez.
Yeah, it's true.
Like I can never get a guy that's 5 points lower and $500 more expensive. Like both of those things are wrong.
Yeah. How about James Paxton?
James Paxton is the guy that I am currently stacking against the second most aggressively, which I don't really know what to do with that. I like having the last offense of the night. That's at least I'm not dead by the time I get to 10 o'clock, but
his strikeout stuff has been so bad.
Dude, it evaporated. 19% against lefties so far this year, 13 against righties across 770 pitches.
It's gone.
It disappeared.
Which sucks.
So what does that mean when Adolis Garcia and Marcus Semien step up to the dish? Because
I know.
I mean, especially Semien. Semien doesn't K.
I know. Yeah. And I mean, I know it'd be lefty, but Seager might be out. I don't know if he's going to play, but I mean,
I don't have him in the lineup right now.
He's been fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, this park is arguably the best power park in the league. But people don't talk about it like that.
You think you think so?
131 home run park factor to righties, 123 to lefties. Like in the aggregate, it's as good of a home run park that exists in the league. And we just never talk about it.
It is incredible how much the Rangers offense has struggled this year. And I know they've had injuries. Don't get me wrong. Dude, they've had some real struggles.
I mean, they don't project well as a lineup. I have them at a 310 WOBA in this spot, which is basically league average. Yeah, Dodgers, in terms of if you want to look at a rolling 3-year home run factor, ignoring lefties and righties, Dodgers are second, 122.
That's amazing.
Cincinnati's number 1 at 124.
I think, yeah, that makes sense.
So if that's going to be the case where Paxton can't miss bats any longer, now he doesn't give up any power to lefties. That's still fine. He does give up power to righties, and there's going to be a bunch of righties in this Texas lineup. I think it's a really good spot for Texas bats.
I'm with you. I have no problem with it.
Especially unowned Texas bats. The only guy getting any ownership is Ezekiel Duran. It's 2%. Like we have Texas. Here's the big difference in why I'm getting Texas. We have them 20th in top stack, 21st in top value. I don't necessarily have them as a big top stack. They're 16th for me. I have them 7th in top value because you have Marcus Semien in the leadoff spot on the road at 5,200. That fills the second base spot. He's properly priced, but he's going to have more plate appearances in this game than anybody else will. The only other guy that has a problematic price tag is Adolis Garcia. Now, both of those guys, based on their power rates, are priced where they should be. The next most expensive guy in the lineup is 4K. These guys are incredibly cheap. 2 guys in the 2Ks, a bunch of 3K guys. I think they're a much better value stack than the 3rd worst value on the slate. I have them 7th. And I think that tells a much clearer story based on the pricing that I see.
This will change in our tools. So my guess is that we had updated them before the line was, there was no starter, and it was like Dane Dunning was probable, but no books had a line.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm looking at the implied totals that we have right now. Like we
Yeah.
have Dodgers at 4-3 and Texas at 3-7. Both of them are higher than that. I mean, they're both higher than that by about half a run each.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's going to make them look a lot better on the
Agreed.
surface.
And it's going to make that 5% going to Dane Dunning probably like 0.5%.
That will disappear.
Yeah, it's gone. So yeah, we had to throw something. We didn't have lines earlier today. I was looking for that as well. There was just nothing there.
Yeah, they're my most exposed team right now. Like to me, if everything that we're looking at maintains, that's a team that should be owned at least a little bit and isn't owned at all.
Yeah, that's going to change. I think we'll show them looking a little bit better than they are.
I hope not, but I agree with you.
Jordan Montgomery has been it's bad for him right now. After last start, when they talked to him, he's like, he goes, I feel like a piece of crap. Did you see that?
I did see it.
I feel like a piece of crap. Which I read that, I almost felt bad for him. It's just it's like a thing a child would say. You at least got to be like, man, it feels shitty.
Yeah.
When you go, boy, I feel like a piece of crap. You're like, ah, man.
That does not make you feel good.
No, a piece of
like,
crap.
Oh, buddy. Yeah, that's
right.
You gotta go talk to somebody, man.
Yeah.
Somehow he could say like so much worse. Like all I want to do is drink bleach and throw myself into a lake, and I wouldn't feel as sad as I feel like a piece of crap.
Okay, so we're on the same page here. It was very almost uncomfortable to see that.
Yeah, that sounds extra sad.
If he's just like, I fucking suck.
Yeah.
Like, I respect this. I like this. But aside of it, it's like really just feeling real sympathy for the poor lad.
Yeah, like you got to send somebody from the organization to be like, hey man, are you okay?
Yeah. And he's like, it feels like just every time I show up, we lose. I feel like a piece of crap. It's like, man, do you need the week off?
Yeah. Because, what can we do here for you, brother?
And then it comes out a couple days later that he thinks he figured out whatever it was and he fixed it. But I mean, maybe not. But he got booed. Don't forget, he held out. Boris is his agent, same as Blake Snell. That's looking real good for you, huh, pal? And
I mean, to be fair, Scott Boras made a lot of good decisions for a while. You just kind of assume that he's going to make you $100 million every time he waves his wand.
I hear you. Well, he's still got I think it was like a 50 million 1 year or whatever, but boy, has it not paid off. And it hasn't paid off for Snell, for the Giants with Snell either.
No, it hasn't.
I don't know.
I reran all of my stuff, by the way. Not that much has changed. Still a bunch of the Rangers, but hitting is a little bit more on like the Brewers, which is not great. The Yankees, the Royals. So I've massaged my numbers a bit. The pitching hasn't changed. Just about everything I have is in Wu, Varland, Vasquez.
Jason Gordon said Pittsburgh stacks ? And do we ride the Royce Lewis home run train? Yeah, I mean Lewis since coming back has been wild.
I'm not a huge Pirates stack guy today. I think they're a bit overowned. They're already 4th in ownership. They're so free.
I have a little bit. I have like 10% total between 3, 4, and 5 man Pirates. So nothing crazy.
Yeah.
My guess is I don't have a lot of Royce Lewis. Let's see. I have 3%.
I have 8.
Quantrill's been good.
Is that true?
As far as run prevention goes, he's actually been good. We can look at the underlyings. He's not a big strikeout guy, but
pitching, he hasn't given up much power.
No. You can't be good and give up power if you're a Coors. Less than a home run per 9 this year. Like his xERA is not far off from his ERA. He's been, when I say good, you know what I mean. He's been a lot better than you would have ever expected Cal Quantrill to be.
Playing Cal? Is he your guy today?
Nah, there's not enough strikeout upside there. No, I'm just saying I don't love Minnesota bats. That's what I was getting.
Same. They're 7th in ownership right now at 6%. I have just shy of that, kind of just right around the field on the guys that matter.
Yeah, I have very little. I have like 3% Minnesota stacks. Trying to see if there's any other. Oh, by the way, little promo running for those of you guys looking to get in some Millie Maker action for PGA. Yeah, you don't get these for any other sports until football starts. Really, you just get you get golf. Links in the description. First week, PJ Sims, less than $15. It's half off. Really solid promo. Just given the fact that it would be different if you only had it for one day, but you have Thursday plus the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday showdowns. My guess is those showdown slates are going to be massive as well.
Yeah, they are.
Right? They have to be.
They will be.
Yeah. So links in the description. It'll auto load that if you've been looking to check it out and waiting for the right time. You got a Millie Maker coming up. Millie Maker coming up. Also, not just a Millie, by the way. Like, you don't have to jump into Millie. There's other huge contests.
Yeah, golf's loaded.
Tournament.
Loaded.
What?
Golf is loaded. Showdowns are great. Like, you're getting basically the second best golf tournament that exists coming up this week. There's never a better time to come in and test out the golf sim tools.
Yeah, and you've got 4 slates essentially, right?
Well, 5 if you want it. You can play showdown for the first round too if you want. You can play weekend too. Like, you could. There's a Saturday, Sunday that you can get into.
Do they do like afternoon wave contests and stuff? You
they do. I mean? They're not nearly as big,
but they do them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can get into a ridiculous amount of slates.
Absolutely. But yeah, Doug said they love to overload on prizes for PJ. They do. I wish they'd put more of that to MLB. But
I don't think you could time it well enough to like sign up early Thursday morning and have it long enough that you can get into next week's golf tournament just before lock too. But you know, you do it for Wednesday night, the night before, if you really wanted to get it in.
Either way, you're still getting 4 days of golf, all of which will work in the Sims. Like, all the showdowns you can run in the Sims. You're getting all of the data too. You're getting access to the premium Discord. You've got the ownership, the top golfers tool, player projections, plus the sim, all of that stuff. If you want to check it out, link in the description and in chat. It'll auto load that promo, $14.95 for the first week. And a little sweetener on top of that. We're giving away 3 free months of the PGA Sims too, Josh. There are some stipulations, but they're easy. So assuming that you're already a Sims subscriber, all you have to do, assuming you're rocking the Stochastic avatar and you're a Sims subscriber, is tweet us your wins at Stochastic HOF. If you hit anything over $100, you're in. And my guess is that it's not going to be a ton of people because, you know, just the way it is. We're giving away 3 Stochastic PGA Sims Max subscriptions. So if you're a sub and you're already signed up now, or you're thinking about taking advantage of the promo, we're going to be giving away 3 free months of that as well. So just follow those rules. Anyway, are there any other pitchers? I know you're specifically not getting to them, but are there any that stand out to you that like may be interesting? Because I'm trying, man, and I don't see it.
I really don't think so. I mean, I think the ownership is telling a really good story. 6 guys, 15% or higher, 5 guys, 25% or higher. Everybody else is just sort of in the same bucket. If you like one of those guys, like, there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of under-owned dudes for today, whether you're talking like Ronel Blanco, who's at 9,700 and you're just not going to pay that price, but should be more than 1% owned. You could look at somebody like even James Paxton to a degree at 7,200, probably should be more than 2% owned. Tristan McKenzie should be more than 1% owned. Like, there are guys that you can get to that aren't a problem. I just don't happen to be getting to any of them.
So to your point, the one guy for me, I mentioned Luzardo because I know that he has really solid strikeout stuff, even if it hasn't materialized quite as much over the last few starts. Aside from him, though, it would be McKenzie. And like I said, I like Ellie today. I like Candelario. I like those left. I like the bats for Cincinnati in that park. I don't think it's wrong to say that you could find interest in both sides of this one because Cincinnati does strike out a lot. Now, to your point, yes, McKenzie doesn't strike out nearly as many lefties. It's far cry from the right-handers, but those switch hitters and the lefties do still, many of them strike out a lot against righties. You could see the 7K game for McKenzie if he keeps the ball in the yard. 1% ownership to me, positively leveraged. I don't think that's crazy. But aside from that, I don't really think Quantrill has the upside. I don't really feel like going to Brady Singer at 8,600 against New York. Like that just doesn't seem, you know, like a good spot to pay a mid
No.
8K price point for. Montgomery's not an 8K pitcher right now, even if we think he's figured it out. Not the most strikeouts against lefties for the Angels. Stroman, where are you getting the strikeouts there in an already difficult matchup? Sears against San Diego, Suarez against Arizona, Martinez, long relief against Cleveland. I think we've talked about everybody.
I think we have two. It's a for having 24, I mean, kind of like 22 pitchers on today's slate, but for having 24 pitchers on today's slate, there really aren't a lot that we should be talking about. This is a dead zone today.
I do have one more. And Sir Manning, yeah, hit that like button. Atone for your sin. Much appreciated. For those of you that pop in and hit that thumbs up, it goes a long way for us. Is it weird that the unknown pitchers you like are the two teams I'm stacking the most, Reds and Mets from Goombas? No, that's what I just said it, man. I like the Reds a lot.
Yeah.
I like the Reds more than I like McKenzie for sure.
I should hope so.
All right. I got one for you. You're gonna hate this, but I have to do it. Old Drew Thorpe.
All right. I'm going to click a button quickly first to find out what team he's on. Turns out he's the White Sox starter. 7,700. Mariners on the opposite side. Park limits righty power. He's on pace to see not a lot of righties. 4 of them. There are some strikeouts in the lineup. Only a 4.2 run implied total for Seattle, relatively low. He's not a strikeout guy. Strikeout prop isn't the worst. I mean, does he look more? It's not crazy if you just want to compare it to Tyler McGill having 25% ownership. So
that's an interesting way to look at it, actually.
Yeah, the best you can do there, like if you just try to look at him in a vacuum, it's like, well, he's like the 8th best guy, so I don't give a shit. But if you look at it just in comparison to the guys that are around him, then yeah, he's not that different than Tyler McGill.
He is projected for like 5 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Huh. Just throwing it out there. Righties against Seattle typically have quite a bit of upside. You know.
It's not crazy. I don't think it's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary either, but I also don't think it's insane.
No.
I could
look if you build your lineup and it has Tyler McGill, I love the idea of just switching that to him. I just don't ever think you're going to be there.
Yeah. Crazy too. Last year at AA, only I think 30 innings, 30 and a third innings, 40% K rate, but only 25% K rate this year at AA.
Hopefully this slate goes better than it did yesterday.
Ryan asked, Josh, are you 5-man stacking the Rangers at this point?
Yes.
Yeah. Clayton said, Josh, if you're entering a 20 max, do you automatically use your top 20 lineups after a final run, or do you pick and choose from other lower ROI lineups?
I rank it based on a bunch of stuff, ROI included.
Man, the bats on this slate. Yesterday, we didn't really have any high totals, and it turned out to be accurate.
Right. Yeah, fucking sucked.
But look how spread out everything is today for the top stacks. I'm telling you too, once that Dodgers and Texas changes, I think that is going to look better for both teams.
Yeah. I mean, right now, I don't have like an overwhelming individual offense. I just have a bunch in the same area, whether that's Brewers, Royals, Yankees, Rangers, Phillies to a degree, particularly the top of the Phillies lineup. But we don't have anybody that just is like running away from the pack for me.
I have a lot of Arizona.
I don't think it's crazy. I don't like that they're the number one team right now in ownership. That's probably the only reason I don't have a little bit more. Like I'm half the field, but they're first in ownership, 11%.
Yeah. And I think, you know, if I were to make any manual adjustments, Cincinnati up a little bit, maybe. Even just to try and get some individual Cincy bats.
Yeah.
I think that's a hard team to project because McKenzie really hadn't given up a lot of power on the year. And then you start looking at recently, you know, what's real on this guy? Because it's not like he's been excellent, but he's been okay. And even when he gets tagged, he gets strikeouts. But like, what's real with Tristan McKenzie right now? I think it's a hard spot to project on either side.
Man, Cincinnati being the second most owned team. I mean, like nobody's really pulling away either. Like the
No.
Diamondbacks are at basically 9% aggregate. The Reds are at like 8. The Yankees are at like 8. It's really flat. It's not like there's a Coors game here and you know, the Dodgers are in Coors and they got a 15% ownership percentage here on a 12 gamer. It's not as extreme at the top. So talking about chalk relative to hitting at least is a little bit different than talking about the chalk pitching.
Absolutely. Plus, even if you look like right now, if you go into the Sims and you look at pool ownership,
Yeah.
there's still the high, not exposure that we're getting, but the pool ownership. So the amount of how much this guy's owned in the pool of lineups that we simmed, you know, tens of thousands of times to get these results. The highest owned non-pitcher is Ketel Marte at 11%.
Yeah, that's so flat.
And that's not for Arizona. I'm saying that's the highest owned of anybody.
Yeah, that's so flat.
So with that in mind, how much do you worry about, you know, hitter and stack ownership in a spot like this?
I basically don't.
Yeah.
For the most part. It'll naturally take me away from the top because it's just going to make my like fourth and fifth best teams look a little bit better. But I don't really think you have to pay too much attention here.
Yeah. And in our ownership projections, we do have a few that are higher, like David Dahl at 18%. We have Marte at 16, but you get my point here. Like it's pretty spread out. David Dahl, highest owned hitter on the slate, Josh.
Is that true?
Right now.
Yes, he is. You know how much I have?
0.
Correct.
He's been crushing.
Yeah. I mean, if he's projected to hit 7th, he should not be the highest owned guy on the slate.
And by crushing, I mean, he's played 3 games, started 2, I believe, and 1 was a pinch hit home run.
I am of the opinion that Anthony Volpe is the best play on today's slate.
Is that your highest exposed hitter?
No, that is my highest implied ownership guy for today.
Okay. My highest
5-run implied total for the Yanks on the road, hitting leadoff at short. That's the easy, like to me, that's the best guy you can get to based on all of that.
My highest exposed bats right now are all from Arizona.
I just reran everything. I have 6% of the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
12% Marte, 14 Moreno, 8 of Gurriel, and then basically nobody else.
We're getting a decent, good amount of Cleveland. Good amount of Seattle as well.
Nope.
No?
We're very different today. Hitting wise, one of us will be good.
I like Cleveland.
Because mine's Blue Jays, Royals, Yankees, Twins, Rangers. So you and I are hitting like 8 different teams.
Wow. Royals.
I think that makes sense for what we're seeing for the ownership too.
It does. Yeah. Let's see. My stack exposure. Yeah. Arizona, Cleveland, Seattle, Toronto. Those are my 4 5-man stacks with 10+%.
Okay.
Arizona,
then Toronto, we're on the same page.
And that's it.
Yeah. One of us will win some money. Go Jays.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope it's not just Oakland and Colorado that win all the money. Because I'll be pissed if it is.
Yes. I will be very unhappy if Oakland and Colorado are the teams you need today.
And if you guys wanted to check out MLB Sims, you know where to find them. Links down there in the description and in the chat. You get everything. Literally everything for a week or a month. I don't think there's a better tool out there. Particularly when you're just trying to make better lineups, be able to inject your own stuff into them, but you don't have to either. Yeah. There's just so many ways you can utilize these tools. Plus, we'd love to have you part of the community. Jump in the Discord, say what's up, come hang out,
Hell yeah.
use the tools, win money. Rock the stochastic avatar. If nothing else, you should do that. That's free and it'll win you a bunch of stuff worth a lot of money.
But no downside. Worst case scenario is nothing changes whatsoever. You don't lose money by doing it. You can only gain money.
And I mean no disrespect, but like, I mean this serious. Because we've all had these thoughts. Like nobody, you got to picture your dog up there. It's like, that's cool, but no one actually cares about it, right? Like you do, and that's cool. But like that's on probably your Twitter and your Facebook or your like all that stuff.
It provides you no value.
That's what I'm saying. Like it gives you some essence of like perceived social value on social media sites because it's your dog. You love your dog or your wife or your kids or something. But in this case, like you win something, sure you win, but that profile picture of your sweet, golden doodle, it's not getting you a $200 Sims package. Ain't getting you a $550 all access package or a sweet Hall of Fame ring. Stochastic.com/HOF, baby.
You golden doodle guy?
Rocks. No, but I know a lot of friends that have them.
Yeah.
Like they're fine. The hyperallergenic dogs don't appeal to me all that much.
You're a big allergy dog guy?
No, I'm saying they all look the same.
Sure.
My wife was allergic to our dog when we first got her, and then my daughter was allergic to her, and it just goes away.
And what kind of dog do you have?
She's a pit mix, but she's a sweetie, man. She's not mean at all. She's a mutt.
Aren't we all?
Good looking dog though. She's nice. She's got the brindle, but not everybody likes that style. You know what I mean? Some people would. I totally understand that. I think she's cute. Or like I love golden retrievers. Those dogs are the best.
They are, because they're like, I want to be your best friend forever. So it's like, cool, thanks, man.
Yeah. The shedding is wild though.
Yeah, I have no room in my life.
Like, have you ever been to people's homes with golden retrievers that don't like vacuum every single day?
Yeah. I mean, dude, even for us, it's insane with rigs. Like, it's just tiny white hairs everywhere.
Well, you have a pug and a what?
A pug and a boxer.
Pug and a boxer?
Yeah. You got to run the Roomba constantly. I remember the first time we ran a Roomba, when we first got the Roomba, and it shut itself off when it filled itself with dog hair. It's like, oh my God.
That's no good. But
yeah. It's getting under couches and shit. It's every little bit of dog hair.
Now picture a golden retriiever where it's just
it's hair.
It's gross. Like if I have one of my dog's hair that gets into my mouth, I'm like, that sucks, right? Like short hair.
Yeah.
Get a golden retriever
You're taking out like a clown with the hankies in its pocket.
Appreciate you guys, man. Come hang out. Join us. If nothing else, rock the avatar, then join us for free. Hit us up.
I won't be here tomorrow.
You'll be NBA strategy.
NBA strategy at 10 o'clock tomorrow.
Yep. Hit us up on Twitter at Josh Engleman. I'm at Loughran_D, LOUGHY_D. As always, truly appreciate you guys hanging out with us, making this your destination for premium MLB content daily. Yeah. Anything else? You like that? I'm going to start doing that.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't. No, I don't have anything else.
Ryan, what is the conspiracy theory you're on now, Laffy? Don't, Ryan. Don't, brother.
I mean, Ryan, everything that he tells me about is 9/11.
I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm somebody that sees some stuff and goes, that's odd. But
yeah. You think 9/11 was like the moon landing, right? We made that up.
You know that this is not a good conversation to have, right?
Because you don't want to get into your thoughts on it?
No, we're not going to do that.
Just on a sound stage somewhere.
Here's the problem. Here's why I got out of conspiracy theories, okay? Is because now with the prevalence of like easily spread misinformation, disinformation really, but intentional to farm engagement on Twitter and in social media to monetize, everything becomes a conspiracy theory and people lap that shit up, right? Everything. And that's the problem. It used to be like there were awesome Trace at any home run predictions. Yeah, give me Ellie. I like Ryan McMahon. I like Blade. Those are my three.
Abraham Toro.
Yeah, Josh has Toro 10-1. Everything's a conspiracy now, which means not a conspiracy theory, which means nothing is anymore. You know what I mean? It used to be certain spots, like you want to get into the Stephen Paddock. That's a wild one. Okay. The Vegas, you know what I'm talking about? Stephen Paddock.
Yeah, he was my most exposed pitcher yesterday.
There's some, yeah. There are some wild things to get into, but now there's nothing. It's just all. Oh, by the way, I got Josh said he binged the Y files the other day.
It did. Yeah, I watched a bunch.
It's fun, isn't it? Like even if
it
you
is.
don't think it's true,
I didn't catch the 9/11 is the moon landing one, but I'll get into that one next.
No, but he has a great moon landing one that's really good.
Okay.
Really good one. Also, the Time Traveler. Check out the Time Travelers. They're great.
Okay.
Fun. Yeah. Anyway, thanks, guys. We'll see you back here soon. Peace.